Hi, everybody. My name is Grace Smith with the Wise News Network, and today we are here at the Cherryville branch of the Gaston County Library, and we're going to hear a little bit about different kinds of educational programs and opportunities that the Cherryville Library has to offer the community. Stay tuned.
How are you doing today, Tracy?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for having us here at the library.
Well, we're very happy to have you here.
Thank you. Now, my first question for you is, how does the Cherryville Library engage with local schools and other educational institutions?
We've worked with Gaston County Schools for quite some time. We do story times at local daycares and also at preschool locations. We do a second grade field trip with Gaston County Schools. We've done that for, I believe it's been about 15 years as a system. We also, anytime a school comes and says, hey, could you please help us out by advertising this, or can you be part of this family night? We say yes as often as possible.
Seems like there's a lot of fun activities for kids to enjoy. Can you describe any special events or any activities that are typically hosted by the Cherryville Library?
We do a lot of things here at the library, not as much during the school year. Clearly everybody's at school. Summer reading is our big push. In fact, we're getting ready to start that officially on June the 1st. Adventure begins at your library, which we couldn't agree with more. We do a once weekly story time. We have a adult book club that just got started this year by our full-time person, Miss Kim. We also do things like Lego Club. We have a teen anime club. Try to do a little for everybody.
One of my favorite parts about growing up as a kid was going to the library for school. Do you guys host a lot of kids from the area with their library cards to allow them to come in and check out books?
We do that second grade field trip. That's not so much about checking out books. It's more a description of the difference between this is a school library, this is a public library. Also, the fact that when children use their school library, that is the only library that they use is the one that's in the school. If you have a Gaston County Public Library card, that allows you access to all 10 branches. We're simply one branch of a 10-branch system. So the idea, I think, when they get that card, that they can go to 10 different locations, that's really cool in their head. So we do encourage people to bring their children in to get a public library card, to check out books. We think it's important, of course, but it's also just nice for children to realize there's some place where they're going to be welcome. It's not the days of old where everything is shh and on tiptoe. I tell them normal inside voice, no yelling. I'm not allowed to, so please don't yell. And also please don't run. We just want to make sure nobody trips, falls, gets hurt. Plus it's harder to keep track if they're running around. So we do have a lot of fun in story time and some of the children's programs. So I explain to them that room is to do those things. We have bubbles at story time, we dance, we sing. But once you come into the library itself, then we have to be slightly calmer. So.
Understandable. And you said 10 branches.
Yes,
Wow.
yes.
How do the different branches of the Gaston County Library work together to supply educational programs or fun activities for the community members of Gaston County?
That's a great question. A lot of people think what's in their branch, what you think of as your branch, is all you have access to. 10 different locations. All of us have some of the same things, but we also have lots of different things, including those programs. For example, we have our story times here. There's story times at other locations. For our Belmont location actually does a listen and move for toddlers. So it's less stories and more getting out those wiggles and following directions and building some of those muscle skills by using things like shaker eggs and scarves. We also have adult programs, a lot of adult programs at our main branch, including things about how to grow. There's a seed library right over my shoulder over here. So if you're interested in getting seeds and or learning how to grow things, we have you covered. But we try to make sure that people have access to a variety of programs for a variety of ages.
And then are there any unique features or services that are provided specifically by the Cherryville Library that would distinguish it from other library branches of Gaston County?
I would say not really. Most every Gaston County branch has the same basics. Now, there are 2 branches in the system. There's one in Bessemer City and also one in Lowell. Those are our technology branches. They have some special things like 3D printers, makey, some other more of the tech things that people are looking for. But every Gaston County branch has the same basic things in it. Books, obviously. We have our entertainment. We also have things like public computers, fax machines, copiers. Every copier can also be a scanner. So if you need to scan something and send it, sometimes we have people that aren't quite sure how to do that. That's why we have us. We can hopefully walk you through that. The only thing I think that would make each library different is how they work with their community. Each library tries to know its community pretty well, needs to be interactive with its own community, and tries to really be part of its community. But what's in the library, that's pretty much the same.
Very cool. So since you have to know like your community,
Right.
what would you say that the Cherryville community tends to seek from the library? When folks are coming in, what are they usually looking for?
We have a lot of readers in Cherryville, which is great. We also have a lot of people who need the public computers. For example, you're sending an email, you're writing up a resume. Lately, we've seen a lot of people who come in, I have this on my phone, so I need to get it printed. So there's getting them through that process of accessing email on a public computer so they can print it on a printer. We've even done things like lost dog posters for people, which is always kind of near and dear to our heart, any lost animal. We try to make sure that if somebody comes in, we post at least one of those for at least a few weeks. We're also cheerleaders. So if somebody does come in and they're looking for help with a job and we get them through all of that, our last thing is, if you get this, please let us know. We're great cheerleaders. So yeah, we just try to be definitely part of that community, really get to know our people. It's sort of like a family. So that's nice in a way.
And then how does the Cherryville Library utilize technology to enhance its services and engage with the community? I know you mentioned the computers are available for public use.
Right,
And
exactly.
in the system, you know, you mentioned those technology libraries.
Right,
It seems like Gaston County really has a lot of plans put in place to help folks get access to technology.
Exactly. So we have Wi-Fi out in the parking lot. That is actually available 24/7. So you can roll up at any time of day if you need to and have Wi-Fi access, which that's important. A lot of people say, oh, everything's online, but not everybody has access. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, we have our digital content. So we have normal library branch hours, everybody does. But then what if you're one of these people that really likes digital content? That's open 24/7 as well. So with your Gaston County Library card, you have access to ebooks, downloadable audiobooks. We have things like Hoopla. So there's also TV shows and movies that are available. We have Freegal. So there's free music that's also available. And then of course we have My Libro, which is an app that you can use to keep track of all your library things. So we're trying to, I think it's a good mix of digital and physical. So I think it's Stephen Fry who said that basically physical books aren't going to be any more threatened from ebooks than stairs will be threatened by escalators or elevators, something like that. Most of our people look at it as it's not one or the other, it's both.
I like that. And now, just as a little bit of a personal question,
Sure.
Why do you think libraries are so important? And why do you think libraries should be uplifted and spoken about within the community?
I think library is important because it is truly a community hub. We see a lot of people that come in here that know each other, which is great. We also, like I said, try to really be part of the community. It's also a safe space. You can walk in, like we say in our second grade field trip, a public library is open to everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a resident here in this city, in this country. I've had people, when I was at a different branch, had a wonderful couple from England who were there most of the summer. And so it was really neat to get to know them. And they were really appreciative of the library. We were able to give them advice on here's where I would go eat. Here's a map. Here's the printout of your plane tickets, because that was long enough ago. You still had to have a printed ticket. So it's nice that people have a space to be in. For example, when we had our little microburst, that was one of the first things I thought of as we might have people coming here because perhaps they don't have electricity in their house or they don't have air conditioning at their house right now. So we wanted to be sure we would have the doors open and that we could welcome people in a time that for them was probably pretty stressful. So to me, that's part of why a library is here, is to be there for its community. And plus, it's one of the few places that you can walk into that nobody expects you to pay anything. You don't have to buy something. And that's that for a lot of people, that's great.
Mhm.
So
And you mentioned getting a library card. If
yes.
folks want to get a library card either from y'all or from the Gaston County Library System,
Right.
other branches, how would they go about doing that?
Getting a library card is very easy. If you have a driver's license or a state issued ID that has your current street address on it, and you happen to live here in Gaston County, work here in Gaston County, or own property in Gaston County, it takes us about 5 minutes. If you're somebody that maybe has a driver's license, but it doesn't have that correct street address, grab a piece of mail. Or in this case, we're talking about technology. We've learned most people don't get actual mailed bills anymore. Please bring it up on your phone. And again, as long as it verifies your name and that address, it takes all of about 5 minutes. If you have children that you want to get cards for, be sure that you are here with them. A parent or legal guardian must still sign for a child. They're not allowed to get their own library card until they have a driver's license or state issued permit and they have reached the age of 16. So.
And then my last kind of question for you specifically would be, do you have any fun or impactful stories from your time working in the Gaston County Library System that illustrates why libraries are so important to communities?
I think probably one of the best ones is from when we were actually closed for a while due to COVID. We had a patron who is a voracious reader and, like many, not able to come in and get books. And so would call and say, I really need something to read. I don't care what it is. Can you please pick me 5 books? When we were finally allowed to have people back in the library, this patron came in and said they have been so thankful that we were able to do that because it really meant a lot. And also that she had discovered authors that she would probably never have read before because we picked some things that she would not have ordinarily thought about. And I love the way she put it. She said, it was like Christmas. I got gifts and it was wonderful. And that really kind of, I think to us brings home why we matter. We're giving people not just public service, but that human connection that in the age of technology, sometimes I think people feel like they're missing. So
thank you so much for sharing. Is there anything else that you would like to add either about the Cherryville Library branch or the Gaston County Library System in general?
The only thing I would say is definitely get a library card. I know a lot of people still think of libraries as musty old places that are full of books. And while we do have a lot of books and while we greatly love our books, there's so much more that public libraries have to offer now.
Mm-hmm.
And that is all public libraries. I don't advocate just for Gaston County. When we were at the Cherry Blossom Festival, we saw a lot of people who were not from Gaston County, were not really even from the area. So the first thing I said is whatever library system you have, please go get their library card. Libraries are libraries. We all care about our communities and we just want everybody to have access. It's more about information than just books. So definitely make use of your public library.
As you can see, there are a whole lot of programs and opportunities offered by the Cherryville Library and the Gaston County Library System in general. In fact, I didn't leave empty-handed. I went and got myself a library card. If you haven't done so, maybe you should as well. For the Wise News Network, I'm Grace Smith.